Yeah.
So we're continuing now, we're downstairs, we'll do a bit 10-15 more minutes and then we're done. So,
Why didn't you start sooner?
So there are a few works here by an artist called Hamilton Finlay, who is made, so I suppose an artist that a lot of people would have heard about. And one might ask, why is Ian Hamilton Finlay at Bengali and why is he in a show where there are a lot of immigrant artists, when we think of Ian Hamilton Finlay as quite a quintessential Scottish and British artist. And this is a bit of a sort of provocation to the idea of movement and belonging, because Ian Hamilton Finlay was not born in Scotland. I don't know if anybody knows where he was born. You can cheat and look at the wall.
Exactly.
Well, I know where you're from. I don't want to get work.
So he was born in the Bahamas. He comes to Scotland when he's a young boy. And for quite a long time, he says that he feels exiled from his island home. And there's a lot of in his work and in his sort of biography that deals with this idea of nostalgia and with coming back home. And it complicates also him being born in the Bahamas, but then today being considered as a quite, as I said, quintessential sort of British artist, complicates a lot our ideas of belonging and who belongs. Or there are some other artists in this exhibition that we'll see who were born here, but they were born to immigrant parents. And we think of them as somehow, or many people in the UK might think of them as others, because they're somehow not quintessentially British. So the reason for putting Ian Hamilton Finlay here is to also disrupt and complicate our ideas of belonging, almost to provoke a bit this idea of who belongs, who is part of British society and who isn't, and of course with the idea that everybody belongs. Yeah. I won't talk about too much about specific works about Ian Hamilton Finlay because I'll leave that up to Bill, because Bill is quite good at sort of summarizing some of the works of Ian Hamilton Finlay, and maybe if you pick one.
Sure, I'll go through it quickly.
Yes.
This is the first concrete poetry print in the UK. It was 1964, and at that stage Finlay was inviting other artists like Auguste de Campos and other poets rather from around and kind of creating a network. But that was the first concrete poetry print, and a year earlier he'd done the first concrete poetry publication, which was called Repel. I particularly like this. This is a calendar that took years to make and actually came out in '68, but was kind of thought of in about '64, '65. And there you see his wave rock poem. Later, as a project with students at Bath Academy, with John Furnival, possibly Hans Mar, but I think mainly John Furnival, I'm not sure. A student made this. Finlay would have written to them and told him some of his ideas. And a student called Shrimpton, wasn't it? Bernadette Shrimpton. She created this work, and it became a famous concrete poem by Finlay in a glass poem format, a really successful one. But there's this letter that he's written to somebody, I don't know if it's Stephen or whoever, and he just says, "Oh, she got it all wrong. I'd never do it that way." And I've just taken a letter there and I've put it over there and I've sent it to the glass etchers and they'll do it like that. Never gave her any credit whatsoever for this, which is a very dynamic. It's something that, you know, look at how the difference between that and that is huge. In this thing here, this cabinet, sorry, this is the wave poem. That has various versions, installations and everything, but as you notice there's these wave-like forms, and they're actually the equivalent of a transposition symbol in editing, which means swap the two letters around. So the misspellings when you include the waves say wave every time. And also those last poems, if you get a spotlight on them, the idea was, or sunlight, they will kind of move around the wall. Everything that Finlay did began with publications, and then he used collaborators. So this is the original wave booklet that was printed with your waves and with your words, the versions of it in 19, I'm going to guess 69, I think it is roughly, or 68. So postcards, prints, etc., always, so he's often seen as a kind of godfather of artist books in terms of he was making these publications and then he would work out how to make it into his famous garden, Stony Path, which some people see as kind of Scotland's greatest work of art. Which is just art, which is an amazing thing involving water and sculptures, and it's a kind of huge creation by him. Well, not huge physically, but it's an amazing creation. And then you have a couple of other prints there. this one here, which is called Acrobats, as you can imagine, I don't know how many times I've been asked to describe what concrete poetry is at parties when somebody says, and what do you do? And they kind of dig a bit deeper. You say concrete poetry is my speciality. And I often use this, I'd say, well, there's this screen print called Acrobats, and the letters are organised in a kind of day-glow orange, and then there's this blue ground. And so as you look at them, it's as if they kind of start spinning around like acrobats would. And it's also, as somebody pointed out to me the other day, when you have acrobats standing like that in a kind of formation, it's that kind of organisation of things. But yeah, it seems to just about work in terms of explaining to people.
I'll tell you about.
Is that one of his first, is that actually one of the first prints he made, do you think?
Yes. And also, the thing I like about that particular one, and that Anna insisted on, was that's from the kitchen of Stephen Bann and Philip Stedman and the people who did the first experience of concrete poetry in '64. And Steve was a very good cook, and it's got quite a lot of splats on it. And I think that's probably quite, good meals have been done. So this is one that just happened to be in their kitchen, so we kind of like the kind of age value of it all, rather than getting.
You worked out what it is. Is that red wine?
No, yeah, well, I imagine that's something. Yeah, I think it's as I said, I think some really great French, definitely French-based concoction.
Yeah. That's French.
It's great to see.
And also, I think some of the things there are to do, on the left there are green blinker, and on the right a right blinker. So it's actually the concept of the sea. That's the port and starboard lighting in boats and stuff. So it's not just about and then you have this rainbow's hoop and
the K-47 relates to the number of the boat.
To the fishing vessel, which would probably have a particular name, and the smack is a type of fishing vessel as well, and cruise. So in fact, you're looking at a kind of a version of a sea scene.
Really fascinating.
Yeah.
And this one, he probably didn't collaborate, because all the others, he'd often fall out with his collaborators. And this one is probably pure filming.
Yeah, and so early as well that yes, he
I've never seen it in reality, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's lovely. Very. And as I said, it was interesting because he was communicating with other poets, and he was printing prints for them, and so it almost a bit like the Biro. The Pierre Albert Biro print has a similar style to it. So I wonder whether there was some kind of that he picked up some hints from that.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously a letterpress work, isn't it? So he wouldn't have made it himself, but obviously whoever printed it is not credited as a collaborator.
I've got a photo of something that's not that, but it's quite similar, and it's actually kind of got drawings and collage, and it's kind of it looks very similar to that, and we think it's probably the same year. It's probably '64, and so. Sorry, Greg, I'll tell you this.
No.
You can't tell me about that.
No, it's fine. I was going to say as well that it's a good point about the port codes, because often he uses one of his references to boats involves using these things called port codes, which is I didn't know this until I started studying Finley. But every boat logged at a certain, or registered rather, at a certain harbour will have a number assigned to it. So this probably means Kirkcaldy. Kirkcaldy, the 47th boat, registered at Kirkcaldy Harbour. If you look over at that print there, that's one of his sea poppies, which obviously makes the shape of a poppy with its kind of very closely sort of striated kind of petals. But if you look at the language, which might seem quite baffling, those are all port codes, so they're all references to individual boats. GN54, GW71, ML83. So that's another of his.
And the idea is that all the boats might have references to flowers in their names.
Right, of course. Yeah.
I've been looking through different nautical books to try and see if that's absolutely the case. It is quite complex because of different things, but that was the kind of concept.
Oh, right, yeah. So the boats, a boat might lose its registration number, I suppose, and then it gets assigned to another boat, so you'd have to go right back through.
Yes.
The other thing I was going to say was about Little Sparta, this idea of concrete poetry as sort of language made visual. Obviously, one kind of endpoint of that is language made sculptural, so it's not just visual but also three-dimensional, and you can actually walk around a poem, and that's what Little Sparta's like, is a kind of interactive landscape. Poem sculpture set amidst trees and little streams. And
beautiful garden.
Beautiful garden. Taking my mum there.
Where is that?
It's south of Edinburgh in the Pentland Hills. If Glasgow's here and Edinburgh's here, Little Sparta's in the middle. Well worth seeing if you're ever up in Scotland.
It's a great experience, yeah.
Really worth going.
So with that, I think one of one of my favourite works there is the aircraft carrier sculpture, which is it rises up from the pond on a column, and then you have an aircraft carrier. But it's called the aircraft carrier bird bath, and so that when the birds come down and dip into the water and they leave, they're imitating the aircraft of aircraft
Refueling
carriers.
aircraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a lot of military vessels in his work as well, not just fishing boats, but
Yeah, absolutely.
often allusions to the Second World War through military craft.
And lots of themes, as you know, classicism, all sorts of
Classicism,
massive.
classicism,
Yeah.
lots of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you quickly about 3 more works. 4 more works. So 2 of them are in the dreams. You can look at them later. One is here by John Sharkey, an Irishman. That's all right.
We'll have a hydration break.
We're in the last quarter of the. I've been watching the World Cup.
And what's the score?
I don't remember that. Sorry, Anna.
That's all right. So a work here, you can see it later, it's by John Sharkey, an Irishman, quite a bit of an obscure figure. Greg helped me reconstruct a page of his life, and that's sort of what we know.
Oh, right, yeah.
But the work is really interesting here. You can see it later. It's a concrete poetry representing St. George's flag, and it's written in black, in black ink, them, and in red ink, us, sort of forming the cross. And this is very much obviously speaks to sort of immigration, to division. Works here by John Latham. You can check them out quickly later. So there's fragments of books, and it's based on this idea that the cultural base is burnt out. And so he doesn't burn or destroy books in the, of course, Nazi tradition, but rather in this kind of auto-destructive art tradition of sort of the cultural base that we have not making sense anymore, the destruction of books being the only sensible thing. This is a work by an artist from Greece, Papakristou, and this work is called Unwavering. And it's about sort of the stability of the bisexual identity, because there's often the bisexuality is kind of questioned as not being real, as sort of being a phase, but this is kind of the stability of that identity. And we'll look at 2 more works quickly, and then we're done. So this here is a work by an artist originally from Dominica, Tam Joseph, and it's called the handmade map of the world. So as you can see, the names of the countries are completely in different places, and it disrupts the idea of sort of who is the leader, who is the subaltern. Can anybody find the UK? Oh.
The letters are on. The words are all different. So you see USA becomes China.
It's a bit of a play on the surrealist map of the world,
yes.
and I think Layla Curtis and there's quite a few artists have played with that idea.
Oh, I can find
Yeah, so this is the United Kingdom.
Malaysia? No, what is that?
Okay, so let's see one more work, and by Hodman, who is also on the cover. And I think rather than me talking about it...
No, you should. Really.
Oh, okay. Yes, so it's the work here, so I will then talk about Hodman's work, which we've chosen sort of for our cover. And so Hodman's made it with French old tailoring patterns, and with photos that he's been giving by his Jewish friends, right, so from kind of their family archives, and then he cuts them together. He cuts them, reassembles them, and the blue symbolizes sort of the color of the blue houses in Morocco from when Jewish communities were expelled from sort of 13th and 15th century England and Spain. So this is literally a world sort of cut up and restitched anew. And the tailoring patterns speak directly sort of to this reconstruction, to the sort of destruction, disruption, and reconstruction again. Okay, thank you. And we'll finish.
And the artist's
Yes,
here.
and the artist is here.
Just in case that
It was in response to a commission from the Migrations Museum, so they picked 5 important migratory sort of pinpoint. So in Britain, and the thing that they gave me was in 1290 the Jewish population was expelled, but before they were expelled, they were mistreated in a very appalling way. They had to like identify themselves by wearing 2 yellow strips, like the Star of David in the 40s. And that sort of blew my mind. So I thought I would make a work. So there are like 6 of them. So there's like 2 strips, but in blue, because blue is a celebratory color when you're talking about Jewishness. And I asked all my friends to give portraits of their family and themselves to construct the 6. And it's actually quite interesting because earlier on I was with a 92-year-old Parsi Zoroastrian man, because I'm Parsi from India, and he told me that when he came to London in 1958, he could not find a job because everywhere it said colors do not apply. And he told me that the people who embraced him and gave him his first breaks were the Jewish populace. And I'm just thinking about my own story, because the first museum to acquire my work was Venery Museum, and it kind of just then blew up after that. So it was like quite interesting that I was coming here and he was telling me about that. So anyhow.
It's very beautiful. It's really, I mean, I haven't looked at it in detail, but just the first impression, it's really beautiful. Yeah.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Are there any other
do
questions?
6? Did you do 6?
Right,
6,
yeah.
a series of 6.
Yeah, 6, and they're supposed to be mounted, like 2 strips. Yeah.
So sort of collage and paint.
No, so it's all collage.
Oh, are there sort of two
Yeah,
collective?
the clouds are painted.
Okay. But the paint, the blues and the turquoises, and are they all? Is that?
Yeah, so the blue has been painted, and then the rest of the colors are just papers that I've found.
Lovely. It's really beautiful, and it really fits in well with this. Isn't it? It's great.
Can we persuade the artist to stand on his work?
Oh yeah, we need to. Yeah.
Good idea.
Okay, just like really quick.
Oh, look at this.
Oh,
Very critical.
very good idea.
No, it's about the curators today, really. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's really nice having you here, isn't it?
Also,
That's
Benny
right.
Museum has actively shown my work a lot, so I have quite a soft space for in my heart with the museum. So if they ask me to do anything, I'm always there, because, like I said, I really think they did a lot in terms of putting my name out there, and then a lot of other museums followed. So it was quite.
Fantastic, which is what we started with, isn't it? About that.
Yeah, like the sort of story carries on.
Yeah.
50 years later, 150 years later.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I'm looking closely now.
Yeah, please do.
But also, it seems very relevant to
Seen it
his
in real
technical
life.
patterns, because traditionally people get into the profession, so they all do tailoring,
Right.
and so there was a couple of years ago, there was a really